This is Logical MGTOW Spock. Now, this one video is going to be that all men, not just a percentage of men, not only just the MGTOW men, this is the ones that we know to be white knights, and those to be blue-pilled idiots, and many other men. Those men who have not yet entered the dating world, don't enter it. Because women will do you in. Not in the sense of life changing or life ending, in that sense, but although it could be perceived as such in your later years. But many men should go their own way, essentially. That for many reasons, because women are only about themselves. They only want what they want. They don't care how the hell they get it, or even from us men, essentially. They expect us men to get it for them instead of them getting it, and yet they claim to be independent on the same aspect. They're not. Men are independent. Women are not. Women, as I've said many times, women claim to be ready for the aspect of marriage, but they're really not really set for that. If they were, then there'd be no show like Cheaters, where their men essentially find the woman going behind his back and claiming, "You're hardly ever there for me. You're always working. You're always doing this or you're always doing that." Whatever. And at the same time, is that even before that, they expect you to buy them the fucking globe practically. Even if they put the thing aside, as I mentioned many times before, that say that the say it's been say 4 or 5 years, right? Then the thing that you bought them is somewhere in between those 4 or 5 years. They put aside. They don't even touch. They don't even use at all, right? You know that what happens to that thing? That thing builds up rust, dust, if it's metal, of course, like earrings and rings and such like that, right? They want you to buy them more as if what you got them wasn't enough. And yet, women are supposed to be about emotion, where they call themselves Sister Moon, and they're supposed to be all connected with nature and shit like that, right? They're not. The nature aspect, the nature and godlike aspect is supposed to be where they are connected with nature a lot more than us men. With the fact, aside from the fact that they are connected, they're more in tune and more in touch with with their feelings than men claim to be. Of course, yeah, we do have emotions, we do have feelings, but we're not so in tune with them as much as children are and as much as women. But yet, women think that they're entitled nowadays to start with. This whole thing started from the 1990s, where women thought they were entitled to get what they want, like little fucking children. It wasn't enough that they got what they wanted to a percentage when they were children. They want to use that. I'm going to get what I want as adults, and they want to be considered as adults. You cannot be considered as an adult, ladies, if you expect to get what you want when you want it on your timeline, on your expectations. And yet, women have, and many of us MGTOW members know this, women have turned the aspect of marriage into a business to benefit them. And who is benefiting them even on the other aspect to it is daddy government in the divorce proceedings. And yet daddy government is supposed to be like a fair and impartial system. It's not. Women will try to say that it's because from the beginning of time, men have been more aggressive, more in the sense of killing, murdering, and way more than women were in the beginning. That's a psychological diagnosis, but it doesn't mean it's every man. Thereby, also, when a woman says that, it's the base of also judgment, like as if all men do that when they don't. The other aspect of it is that women think that our objective in life is to do things for the woman, and as if we can't um, then do things for ourselves, so we always have to be doing things for the woman. That's the only life objective that we have. Wrong. We are not here simply to serve women. We men are not here simply to basically bow down to the fucking feminist bitch. We are not here to make things easier for the woman and make things harder for us and much more difficult for us than the woman. We are not here on this planet to make things so simple in life for women that we will practically give our whole entire existence in that aspect. No. It is stated that Tom Leykis even says that we are not here to basically be at the fucking feminist female's beck and call. Yes, we'll protect and defend our sisters and nieces and daughters for those of us men that have those, and our female cousins as well. And but we're not we're not born just to basically make things simple for the woman, as if the woman is the only being that should have things a lot more, shall we say, easy going or easier in life aspect, in the living aspect, more than us men. So much so that we men would have to do anything and everything for the woman. No, it doesn't go that way. And yet, I know many women will say, "Well, what do you think? Do you think we women are supposed to make things easier for you men?" From the beginning of time, before the 1900s, before the 1800s, before the 1700s, and before the 1600s, things were done in such a way that it didn't always go to where women or men did things to simplify things for either gender. They simplified things the best way they could for themselves while single. They simplified things even in the kindness of the heart to help out a fellow human being, regardless of gender. The basic fact is that women have gone to the concept of thought mindset, as if you want to put it in that sense, that men our only objective is to better things for the woman instead of ourselves. Better things for the children and the female. The children I can understand because they're still learning. They don't need any pressures. Of course, they get that from other children. And be that, of course, even in the aspect of adolescence. But outside that, they don't need any other pressures that they later gain as they go into the base of adulthood, or the base or levels of adulthood. But also, women mothers should never teach, and I'm not saying they do, but it could easily turn out the way children have have basically done everything the woman says and asks of them, of the male child, be that teenager and what have you. So much so that it becomes shall we say, a norm for them, right? But yet, eventually, the woman or the female takes advantage of their kindness, their niceness, as many women have done to each and every one of us at some time or another. And they think they're justified by doing that. But when we take advantage of their niceness, or if anybody else takes advantage of their niceness, then they bitch and moan, rant and rave, right? The one thing I can say to that, think about when you women take advantage of the guy's niceness, and when your teenage daughter takes advantage of males, the male teenager's niceness and kindness. Why don't you keep this in mind? Life's a bitch. and your just desserts will return. You, even young women, think that you can take advantage of a guy and take advantage of his niceness as if he's not going to care one way or the other if you do take advantage of him, right? So much so that you think you can. He does things so much so that you think you can take advantage of him, even on the aspect of money or anything else for that matter, that you think you're justified by doing so. You think you won't sin by doing it. Guess what? You're crazy. Ladies, you are nut cookies, man. If you think that you are justified by taking advantage of a person's niceness and kindness, be that from a male or your fellow females. You don't like it when men take advantage of your kindness and niceness, do you, ladies? And with that, don't do it to guys then. Because the more women do shit to guys, the more it's going to come right back at them in one way or another, and they'll regret it. You know this, ladies, or if you don't know this, and if you don't believe it will, believe me, it happens to everybody. You take advantage of men, especially in the sense of trying to get them to marry you, women, even in the aspect of trying to get them to buy you shit that will cost way more than what they as well as you can afford, and you think you're justified or entitled to do so, you're not. Justification and entitlements has no bearing in trying to talk a guy into getting something that you know he cannot afford and he knows he cannot afford even at that point in time, and you know you are not willing to go into and get with your own income because you know you can't afford it, even if you could, yet you decide not to because you want men to get things for you. We're not going to do that no more. Those men that keep doing it are basically doing themselves in. They're not really being true to themselves and for themselves by giving in to the female, by getting things that the male cannot afford logically for the female. There was a there was um a show that Tom Leykis did, and a woman caller came in to play in on the show, and her one of her aspects of saying is that she said that we women have what we know you guys want, as if that gives the woman the justification and reason and logic to do what they've been doing to us men by lying to us, by deceiving us, by talking us into something that they know is wrong, and as well as the guy knows is wrong. And just because they have one particular type of genitalia that men would do anything and everything to get it, and in order to get it, they would practically give themselves up and their own self being up to get the woman whatever she wants. That's not a real man. That's not a real human being either. And also, by that same aspect and what have you, is that the woman sins heavily on it. The true whole aspect is also women think that they are going to be desirable even in their 30s and 40s. No. As women age, they age like Berkeley Farms milk, Lucerne milk. As their looks go down as quick as the Titanic did. Yet us men, we age gracefully, where we become more valuable than maybe the way we were in our youth. The way even when we were teased, we don't seem to be valuable then when we're in our youth, but when we get older, and aside from our earning capacity and accessibility, the the aspect of the man ages gracefully, so we're more desirable. But when women age, say when the woman ages, when the woman's youth right here, but as they age, their desirability falls. It sinks like the Titanic. Granted, the Titanic sunk a little quicker, but you get the gist essentially. Women are having a hard time even nowadays to accept that as they age, their desirability of where men desire them gets less and less and less to the point of no more desirability. The only desirability that a woman gets is from their preteens on through. But when they're about their mid to late 30s, the desirability starts fading for the woman. But when it comes to us men, our desirability increases. So men don't put up with the feminist females bullshit. That doesn't mean harm them. That doesn't mean slap them across the face. It doesn't mean use any weapon to the point of threatening to kill them. Just walk away. Go your own way, men. Even blue pilled men, go your own way. White knight men, go your own way. Away from feminism. Free yourself from feminism. Free yourself from the feminist bullshit, emotional, manipulative traps that they set for us men. Go your own way, men. Do not deal with the feminist female because when you marry the woman especially nowadays, from the 1990s even to this point, and it may go on a little long, much longer after, even after this point, that the woman gets to the point to where she wants you to be there at her ever beck and call. Even when you're trying to make a living, you're out making a living. You're out trying to earn some income, right, for you as well as her, right? But women get to the point to where even if they're not working, and or even if they're on day off from their work, that that they get so bored easily, and and they also go to the point of indecision. I can tell you, even when you're dating them, they go is they still go through the emotional aspect of indecisiveness essentially. Basically, they build up so much bullshit within them. Even when you're dating them, they don't even know if they're coming or going. We don't even know if we're coming or going at times. I know that men, but that's a totally different situation and issue for us compared to the feminist female, isn't it? When women don't know if they're coming or going in the sense of indecisiveness, essentially, they do wonder if if they made the right choice. As if just because you're working to make money for yourself, if you're single, where you're able to take her out and do things with her, that she gets to the point of where she doesn't even know what the hell is going on, or why she feels a certain way is the way she does feel. Then suddenly she goes out, even with her female friends, even in the aspect of spring break, and cheats on. Women will not tell you if they will cheat, if they will be doing that on the aspect of spring break. They expect it, but they won't tell you. They won't tell you, men. They expect you to wonder. They expect that they will be able to get laid by other men while on spring break and while in a drunken stupor, but they won't tell you that. They'll promise you shit that they know that they won't keep. Even before and a little after they head into the aspect of spring break. So I know you college, university, high school men will be like, okay, so what do we do? Do we cheat on them, seeing that they are obviously going to cheat on us? No, don't have any communication with them. Go with someone else. Mm, let their parents know that you have you have decided to not have any dealings with their daughter. That way they can. That way, if she calls her parents, which is more often than not that she'll call her parents, outside of you, men, and her mother or her father, or mostly the mother, will tell her your boyfriend that you left out here before you went to spring break. He has nothing. He doesn't want to do. He doesn't want anything to do with you anymore. Then she'll get emotional. Then she'll wonder why. Then she'll call you, but don't answer the phone. Then she'll, because if you answer the phone, she'll give you 20 questions and start to be pissy, bitchy, and or emotional. In the crybaby sense. You know that she's out on spring break without you even knowing if it's actually happening or not, of where she gets laid by other men in a drunken stupor, especially. But again, she will never be. She doesn't have the cojones, metaphorically, to tell you. Thereby, she knows that if she told you before she went before she went to spring break, you'd easily say, "Bye bye. I'm not gonna deal with you anymore. You're nothing but a fucking hormonal cheating little bitch of a slut skank." If a woman goes out to spring break, they call it relieving pressure and stress and strain from their normal day to day lives, right? It's not. That's a phony ass excuse. They know they want to go, they know why they're going to spring break. Not only to hang out with their fellow females, be that from their same university classrooms and schools, but others, right? And they know that they are going to get more than the common encounter with the male gender while on spring break. And many of these male genders have women waiting for them at home, or probably those same male genders have women at home in their home states and or in counties and cities cheating on them, and they don't even know. But even at times they more often than not, times they don't even know it when they get back. The woman acts like everything's all hunky dory, all as if they were really sitting around doing their own thing, waiting for you. But yet they would be cheating on you if you men went on to spring break. Even as the women that went on spring break are cheating on the men that they left in their home state and city and county and towns. So on that one, you can say there's both in of more than indiscretion and sinful actions, sinful adultery actions is in a way of putting it. So women, you can never say that you're going out on to spring break to relieve all stress and strain and pressures from your normal day-to-day lives, regardless if it has to do with school, classes, or whatnot else. That's a poor ass excuse. Phony one at that too. Made up one. Every teenager, female teenager, has used it since the beginning of the aspect of spring break. Of course, maybe in the beginning when they did the spring break, it wasn't really the cheating the cheating aspect of where men, the young men as well as the young women, would go out to cheat on them, just have fun, drink beers, throw parties and whatnot, and that's it. But it's gone way beyond the aspect of just a normal party with no sexual promiscuities. And yes, women as well as men can contract HIV, AIDS, syphilis, gonorrhea, the whole enchilada there, even while on spring break, and they would not have the slightest inclination of it. Even teenagers in their spring break, same aspect. The young men and women in their college days don't even know. And it's not even if you were to go over after spring break, say about a year or two after, you go over to your physician, no sign of it. You go to another spring break, same thing, no sign of it. With that aspect, both teenagers and college university bitches as well as males think that they're invincible, that they will never get it. How the mighty have fallen, and how ignorant and closed-minded one can be, especially when it comes to the base, when it comes to, shall we say, infectious, more than infectious diseases, sexual diseases on top of that. Young men should know this, seeing that we older men know this already, that condoms are only 99.9% effective. The diaphragms are about the same, if not a little less, and maybe a certain percentage less. The other aspect of what females can use to make sure that they're protected while having sex with another male is still not 100% effective. Even if you were to get a tubal ligation, both male or female, doesn't mean you wouldn't get it. Doesn't mean you wouldn't contract HIV, AIDS, syphilis, gonorrhea, the whole enchilada there. There might be maybe a moderate to small percentage of a chance that you might not. But the more sexually and high intense of sexual activeness that you are, and more than tend to get in your youth, this is for both males as well as females. There's more of a chance of that than if it was just every so often aspect. But even with the aspect of every so often, there's still have a chance. And women, even you can eat as healthy as a fucking rabbit, you would still get. There's a still chance that you get it. Even if you went to the point of anorexia, ladies and men, you would still get it. There hasn't been one method, not one, not one, that has shown or he has even proven that you would not get HIV, AIDS, syphilis, gonorrhea, herpes, the whole enchilada there. And yes, I know herpes hasn't been mentioned much since the, what, 50s, 60s, 70s, but it still is, it's still possible. even in this day and age, even in the day and age of the late 80s and 90s, and from the beginning of the 1990s to the mid 1990s and the late 1990s, even from the early millennium all the way through to here and on, even beyond this point, beyond the 2020 aspect. Men as well as women can still get it. And even with the fact that the tubal ligation is more invasive for women than it is us men, women still can get the diseases. And no matter how sexually active they are or even claim to be. I've mentioned this before. Many years ago, I saw a TV movie, where a 20, late teens, early 20-year-old woman meets a guy, a bartender, and they eventually hook up in some way or another, right? They go to the points of sexual, you know, and within the mid to almost near the end of the movie, she finds out she contracted the AIDS virus. She trusted him so much that she thought he would be wearing protection, but also she should have worn some protection. I'm not saying if she did or didn't, but the basic fact is, nonetheless, even if men are or not wearing protection, women should be always protected as well. But even with that, there's still a chance, or more than a chance, that women as well as men get the particular diseases mentioned on this video. And like I said, you can eat as healthy as a damn rabbit. It wouldn't cure it. It wouldn't get rid of it. But with that, even nowadays, depending upon the prescribed aspects to it, you could easily go to the point of having to take pills for the rest of your life. A lot sooner than your senior age. Much sooner than your senior age. Well, of course, not all seniors have to take medication. It depends upon how well you take care of yourself. And also your diet has to be in a certain level as well, and in a certain pathway. Another way of putting it. I'm not saying you have to forego eating red meats and turkey meats and chicken meats and such like that, but it has to be because the body needs the content of meat at some point or another, but not so much so that your arteries get clogged. And yes, women, your arteries can get clogged just as much, if not much easier. But outside of all that, men, in order to be true to yourself, in order to really have more than consideration and respect for yourself, and love and care for yourself, do not fall into the feminist female bullshit of I'm entitled, so he has to get me things that I want on my timeline and when I want it and when I expect it, and he needs to forego his own self being in order to do it. And he has to forego his survival and his income in order to do it, in order for me to actually even give him something that I promised him. That's the aspect of the fucking feminist female, man. So it's best to not be coerced by the feminist female. It's best not to be so sexually horny to the point to where you'll do anything and everything for the fucking female. Even if she really likes you and you really like her, but you even with with her attitude will go from all sweet, caring, kind, and where she'll do practically everything and anything for you, practically to maybe a certain extent, right? Even then, to when you marry her, the aspect of her doing things for you goes down more than a peg, extremely more than a peg, to where you will end up doing more shit for her than she does for you. It's not like it was in the 1940s, 50s, 60s, and 20s and 30s, where both men as well as women did things for each other, even at the same time, if not always at the same time. But the other aspect of it is that they didn't cheat on each other. They were more than faithful and devoted to each other in the relationship and their own family base that they created between the two. It's gotten so bad that the fucking feminist female thinks that they haven't been heard when really they have been heard. But yet they don't feel as that they've truly been heard. So much so that they claim that the feminist bitch and Me Too bitches think that there's a wage gap. There hasn't been a wage gap. There isn't a wage gap. The basic fact is that if they wanted more, then they need to they need to do what ugly bitches do: forego relationships and get more educated. Forego the aspect of becoming a parent and having a family of his or and her own, and where the woman basically goes into the boardings of education, still thinks that she has has worth even in the dating field. When later on, when she hits 30, she won't. Not as much as she did in her early to mid teens and early 20s. Because once you pass 29 and once you pass 30 to 31, ladies, your aspect of where you are more desired goes down the ocean, the metaphorical ocean, much like the Titanic did. But the only thing is, the Titanic went down a lot quicker. And all these face creams and all these skin and hand creams ain't gonna fucking it ain't gonna, it's not gonna like fucking stop the clock, as it were, as you age and become less and less desirable, ladies. That's the way of nature, ladies. But here's the other thing though too, ladies. You have turned away so many men in your youth because you thought you were better than them and you thought you could do better than them. As even Tom Leykis he even has mentioned men. So much so that you have made yourself to believe that you are better than what and how you really are. Because the only true being that's better than any one of us on this planet is Heavenly Father and our Savior. We are and always have been and always will be imperfect beings. We are only perfect in the eyes of Heavenly Father and our Savior. That's as far as it goes. Outside of the vocalization from our Heavenly Father and our Savior, we are still imperfect beings. We still sin. We go through pains. We go through all sorts of shit, and besides anguish and whatnot, right? And we're not better than what we proclaim ourselves to be. You women are not better than what you proclaim yourselves to be. You're not better than any male. You're not better than any female. If you keep on thinking that you are, you're living in a delusional levels of what's known as a delusional level of reality. When it's really not reality, it's all up here. Then eventually you'll hear even men talk about, well, this bitch didn't give me the time of day. This little skink didn't give me the time of day. She thought she was better than me. You'll hear that for the rest of your natural life. Even if you do or do not come across it, it will happen. But yet, you women go through the same thing in your youth. But yet, you do the same shit to men. It's not a base of paying. It's not a base of payback or teaching one a lesson. It's not one of. It's not even the aspect of thinking that you're better than really than how and the way you really are. Because you young women need to realize this, and I don't care if you deny it all you want, but it will come true, and you will see it. You will more than foresee it as the years roll by. You women will become less desirable, and you'll see more and more men in your age. You'll see more and more men in your age bracket as you become less desirable. You'll see the men in your age brackets become more desirable to the younger female, mostly. That's the truth. Women age like Lucerne milk, Berkeley Farms milk. We men age gracefully and become more and more sought out and wanted by younger females. But even outside of that, men, the concept of this video, the title of this video is, as you saw it, that men need to go our own way. Free yourself from feminism. Free yourself from feminist and Me Too lies and deception and manipulation. Free yourself from all sorts of female bullshit that females think they can get away with, even on the aspect of so-called entitlements. Because, but yet, really, even in the marriage, I've mentioned this before. Once a woman says her I do's, her entitlements go out the door. Once we men say our I do's, our entitlements go out the door. But here's the other aspect, ladies, as well as men. You're entitled to do things for yourself and get things for yourself. Nobody is entitled to where men or women have to get things for them. If you're more than capable to do it for yourself, then do it. Don't expect men to get things that you want, ladies. If you're not willing to get it, then you don't really want it that badly. You can promise the guys all you want that you think that they want only one thing from you. We could say it's the same thing about women because women, there's a number of women out there still that only want one thing from a guy, anyways, besides the aspect of this. And besides the aspect of, say, itemization. Things that you don't really need that you claim that you want, that eventually you don't use anymore, especially when it comes to jewelry and various other things. Even the things that you eventually either sell in a garage sale over time and or give to your niece or your friends' daughters or friends' nieces or your female cousins over time. You do that, and I know it, ladies. So basically, ladies, even us MGTOW men will never fall into the aspect of your feminist manipulation. You'll be continuously asking yourself, where are all the good men really? What you're really saying, ladies, are where are all the good men that you can manipulate and basically control, and to where you think you're entitled to get things that you want, that you can get yourself, even though, but yet you expect us men to get it for you instead of you getting it for yourself. The basic fact is, ladies, if you claim to be so fucking independent, prove it. But even during this coronavirus, this politically motivated coronavirus pandemic, you women have expected us men to do things for you, to help you by using our money, our hard-earned money, when we're not even married to you. We're not even going with you. Yet you women have pushed the issue of you being so damn independent, so self-assured, so self-confident that you don't need a man. Prove that. You can't. You women voice it so many times, it goes to the points of absurdum and ridiculousness, way beyond ridiculousness, to the points of you're lying to yourself, ladies. With that though, men, do not fall into, like I said, do not fall into the feminist bullshit. Do not fall into the feminist little manipulative things, and don't fall into the feminist Me Too women type traps. Stay single, stay strong, stay self-confident, men. Go your own way, away from the feminist bitch, even if she is emotional. Even if she is a little heretic little bitch. Even if she threatens your life, just go your own way. There was a video I saw where where a woman and man were like they were probably in their 20 year age aspect, right? Living together. There was an altercation inside the apartment, and the neighbors and people walking down the street heard it, as it happened each time. You know what the end result was, ladies and men? The end result was that the woman was so threatened that he wouldn't do what she expected him to do, as if she called the shots and he didn't. So much so that she stabbed him, and he ended up nearly stumbling, if not to the point of stumble eventually at some point, as he was bleeding. Women have gone to the brink of murdering a man because they don't get what they want. Women have gone to the points of physical harm, even when it comes to slapping a guy across the face, expecting the guy to see things her way versus his realistic, logical way, as if her way is more logical than his and more realistic than his when it's really not. You women have done so much shit to us men, even in the aspect of adultery and manipulation, even physical harm. So much so that you've gone more than, way more than overboard, ladies, and way more than to the points of non-reality. But yet, the only thing you can think of is, if we do this, they'll see things our way. If we do that, they'll eventually wake up, right, ladies? No. You do any harm, ladies, more often than not, you will be put into prison. You even make it sound and look as if he did something to you when really you did something to him. Even if you ladies don't go to prison in this life, you ladies will be dealt with in judgment in the next, and before you get to the next. So much so that if you continuously do it, you'll be judged and then sent to the brinks of hell and damnation. So much so that you will not see the pearly gates of heaven. You will not be walking right in between the angels with trumpets as you enter the next life. You will not be face to face in a positive sense, or even side by side in a positive sense, with Heavenly Father and our Savior. Here, when the female's high expectations and manipulation can lead the woman to that aspect, and even their negative, stupid, sinful actions of cheating and adultery and many other things. even in the physical aspect, can lead a woman to the brink of hell after judgment. You don't need to be a you don't you can be. It doesn't matter if you're an atheist, ladies. It doesn't matter if you're a non-believer. It doesn't really matter if you're not a Bible reader or what people call a Bible thumper. It doesn't matter if you're not a churchgoer, even if you go only on holidays. Your spiritual mortal fate has already been decided. The more you sin, ladies, by cheating on us men, by manipulating us men, by even thinking that you can get away with shit when it comes to us men. It doesn't matter what it is either. And you wonder why there's not men that are trying to seek you out to be where many men want to marry you and spend their life with you, which is not very long anyway, because you women go to the points of indecisiveness and indecision and psychological and emotional aspects, because you, aside from the fact that you women are so in tune with your emotions that you decide to do the most sinful shit besides cheating on us. And you know that, ladies, you know the way you use your expectations and entitlements goes to the points of sin, and it falls in the same base and level of sin. There's many things that we men do that fall in the same aspect of sin. But even when we don't do that, and when you women continue to do your little feminazi bullshit, the only ones that will continuously sin are you women. You can act all angels and sweet and innocent all you want, but the end result shows. The more you think you're entitled, the more you expect a guy to get things that you want when you want it, even if it goes to the point to where they have to forego their own being, their own self-respect, and their own survival. You ladies sin on that aspect especially. So men, white knights, white knight men, blue-pilled men, don't bother with a feminist Me Too bitch female. It is also said that females are out to go towards the aspect of marriage, to marry a man, but yet, like I said, the marriage aspect has gone to the point of less and less because of the way the female and their basic actions, aside from cheating, aside from expecting the guy to get things on their timeline and when they expect it to happen. And aside from the fact that women think that they can um, slap us across the face or punch us in order for us to see things their way versus our own way, which we have every God-given right to see things our own way, as long as it doesn't go to the points of harming any person, even ourselves. The basic fact is, men. There may come a time that women will change, but until that time, and I do mean until that time, stay single, men. Stay single, white knights. Don't open the door for women. Do not hold doors open for women. Don't pick up their shit for them anymore. Even if they drop a phone, or their purse, or their wallet, or anything else for that matter, or even their mascaras, or anything else, or their groceries, or their shopping bags. Even if you see one dropping a bag from Bloomingdale's or wherever the hell else, right? Just walk right past as if they don't even exist, because that's exactly the way they've been treating us, even in the aspect of relationships, even in the aspect of marriages, that we don't matter, so we got to show them that they don't matter. As the old saying goes, the base of Dutch door action. And karma can be a bitch, ladies, much like you women are more than at times. And also, ladies, you got to eventually accept the fact that as you women age, you become less and less desirable, like the Titanic sinking into the Atlantic Ocean of the Antarctics of the Arctic essentially, as cold as it was. You women age like Lucerne milk, Berkeley Farms milk, like day old cream, day old mayo, or month old mayo, or even more than a month old mayo. We men are the only ones that age gracefully, where we're more desired and more sought out by the younger generation of females. So men, if you don't if you don't want to be going to the points of being controlled by the feminist female as a promise you shit that they don't truly intend to keep, go your own way. Walk away from the feminist Me Too bitch of a female. Keep going your own way, men. Build your finances up. Stay single as you build up your finances up for your future and your retirement. If you happen to have a child, after the sexual action that you have with a woman that claim that they chose to be yours after the test to prove whether or not if it is yours or not. That's one thing you should always do. Because I know women will say, "Yeah, it's yours, sweetheart, it's yours," and they'll even say you by name. When really, if they were to do a test, there's more than a likelihood, not all the time, granted, but there's more than a likelihood that it is not your child. It was the idiot who she fucking opened her legs for before you. So men, go your own way. But if, like I said, if it is yours, even after the test, and you must more than insist that she does get the the test to make sure that it is yours, and that they show that the professionals show that it is yours instead of her getting documentation and doctoring it up as if it is official when it's really not, because women are that devious, and they can be that devious even in the aspect of saying, oh yeah, I don't have HIV or AIDS, when they might, because women can go to the points of deception, being extremely devious in showing you the papers that were made up and to show as if they were official. Women can do this, seriously. If they're that hard up, if they're that desperate, especially. And even in the beginning of the installation of MGTOW, women have gradually become more and more desperate. Why? And then even after the fact of where women said, "Where are all the good men?" They've gotten that desperate to where they will do that to you, young men, especially. Don't allow that to happen. If the child is yours, have the physician show in actual documentation. If she is clean, have the people at Planned Parenthood or wherever the hell else show you the paper. Only then will you know the real truth. Aside from that, men, keep going your own way. Build up your finances. Work for you and your future. Build up your finances for your retirement in your later years. And for if you ever want to do vacationing on your own and or with your friends. And even on the side when you get birthday gifts for your cousins, nieces, and nephews. And if you have children, get it, and for your children as well, if they are truly yours. It is the female's fault why the birth rate is plummeting even faster now. It is the female's fault of why they became single mothers. It is the female's fault, even nowadays, of why they are so witch like. Yet every time they want to try to blame us men, and even one woman on the Tom Leykis show, she calls up the Tom Leykis show and said it's you men who made us independent. No, it's you women who did it to yourself. We didn't leave you when really you left us, thinking that you can do better. We didn't leave you to where you became where you were able to become gradually independent ladies. You did that within yourself, so you cannot blame us men. You cannot point the finger of blame towards us men in any way, shape, or form, and for any bullshit reason. No matter how much you think you can get away with it, you won't be able to, ladies. And believe me, men, even if you go your own way, walk away from the feminist female, even if she does get emotional, and even if she tries to text you or email you or instant message you or even blow up your phone by phone call after phone call after phone call after phone call, don't even bother looking at it unless you see the thing saying any one of your family members or mother's phone number. But if it's the woman's phone number of those outside your family, don't even answer. Keep going your own way. Become MGTOW if you want. We MGTOW men will defend you and help you through many things, even emotion. I myself can do that as well. Because I know psychology and I know the male and female psyche. I'm not saying I'm not trying to talk myself up as if I'm Einstein or nothing, but I'm being honest. Women have become spinster and so hateful, so much so that they think that they have the justification to be such when they don't. And that we men have to do things for them at all costs in order for them not to be. That's their expectation. Mm-mm. Women claim to be so independent. They need to prove it to not only us, but to themselves, to where they don't expect us, or they can't even expect us men to do things for them, even when it comes to holding the door open for them anymore, or anything else for them. So men, keep going your own way. Stay single. Stay self-assured, self-confident. Because there's been many cases also, men, that women have done many men wrong to the point where the man has feels that he has no reason to live. When really he does, but he's so emotionally distraught that so much so that he goes to the point of nearly ending his life, to the point of suicide. In fact, and I know I've mentioned this before, that a friend of mine that I know that's he considers himself a MGTOW still, even though he hasn't done videos as I mentioned before. Um, his name is Mr. Hate Vicious. He has saved a guy from committing suicide. Will I? I if the time comes, believe me, I will. That hasn't approached my part of it as much as it has hit Mr. Hate Vicious's. I consider life majorly important, and I've always considered life majorly important because life is finite, and the old terminology, life is short. Life is precious. And it doesn't matter what gender you are. Also, women shouldn't realize this. Our life is equally as important as theirs. Our emotions and feelings are equally as important as they consider theirs to be. So basically, our self worth is the same way. The male self worth is the same way. Equally as important and more in the positive sense. But women don't want us to focus on us as much as they want us to focus on them and only them. They've gone that devious, and even beyond that point of being devious, and they think they're justified by doing so. They're never they're never justified, no matter what the reason, no matter what it is. They're not justified. You go to the points of manipulation, women, you're not justified. You go to the points of emotional, mental control, you're not justified, ladies. So again, men, remember, stay strong, stay self-assured, self-confident, love and care for and about yourself, men. Stay single. Keep going your own way. Keep free yourself from the feminist manipulation, and keep away from the feminist woman, because she'll only make your life a living hell, practically, if not total. Stay strong, stay self-assured, self-confident, stay free from feminist and Me Too manipulation, live long and prosper. Stay strong, stay MGTOW, MGTOW for life, brothers. Have a good day.